Hi, for this week's book report, I chose the book Trombone Shorty. It was written by Troy Andrews, who is Trombone Shorty, and illustrated by Brian Collier. This won the Coretta Scott King Award in 2016, and it is a story about Trombone Shorty, who's Troy Andrews, and his life starting from childhood. He grew up in a very poor area of New Orleans, and he always loved music. He was around music all the time, and he just wanted to play music all the time, but he didn't have any money to afford an instrument. So he would make instruments out of anything he could find, whether it was cans or boxes, anything he could get his hands on to make a musical sound. And then one day when he was walking down the street, he found a trombone sitting on the curb, um, and no one was around, so he picked up the trombone and started to learn how to play it. And eventually, Trombone Shorty was born, and he became a world famous trombonist who has his own band and plays shows in front of thousands of people. But the story follows Troy from when he was a little kid and he first found the trombone. He could barely stand up with it because it was so big, it would tip him over. And then it kind of goes through his progression and how his family influences his life and influences him musically, especially his brother. But this story is very well written and really tells a great story of pursuing your dreams because Trombone Shorty knew his whole life he wanted to play music, but wasn't gifted with the resources to be able to do that like a lot of other kids would be able to. So he did whatever he could to be able to find a musical instrument and get good at something until he is now experiencing a lot of success. So this kind of teaches kids to keep motivated to do what you want to do and not give up when circumstances might want you to give up. Um, this story is also good because it kind of teaches kids about music and what different instruments they could play and what good music is. I've actually seen Trombone Shorty play live, and he plays a really good show. He's a great musician, um, and I would suggest a lot of people listen to his music. So, an activity that I would do for the kids in my story would be, or in my classroom, would be to give them a list of songs or artists that they can look up and have their parents show them and listen to a couple of their songs and just write down what they think about those songs, and then the next day we can talk about it as a class. I think it's good for children to experience a lot of different kinds of music, just to be aware of it, because you never know when someone like Trombone Shorty could come around and pick that up and become a really good musician, be extremely successful with it. So the illustrations in this book were really well done. They were painted. The way that the illustrations were done were kind of in a way that it showed how the music would play throughout the instrument. So if they had the instrument up, there would be swirls coming out from it, signifying music. So I thought they were really well done and were kind of, um, you know, taught the story in a little different way than the text would have done.